Good evening, I'm Steven Chia. The top stories on News 5. Investigators recover both black boxes from the crashed Ethiopian Airlines jet. Meanwhile, questions continue over the airworthiness of that particular plane model. A report finds that for last year, the majority of malicious URLs created in Southeast Asia came from Singapore. The doctor whose partner is at the center of the HIV data leak loses his appeal. Le Texiang will go to prison next week. And coming up later in the program,
that make me more motivated to come to school.
We check in with some secondary schools to find out how they support troubled teens. Ethiopian Airlines says investigators have recovered both black boxes from ill-fated flight ET-302. The passenger jet crashed on Sunday just minutes after takeoff, killing all 157 people on board. Investigation teams continued to sift through debris at the crash site. There were more than 30 nationalities on board the flight, and at least 22 UN staff were also reported to have been on board. Now, this is the second crash involving the Boeing 737 MAX 8 within the last 5 months. Boeing says its investigation is still in its early stages, but it says there's no need to issue new guidance to operators of the aircraft. Despite this, safety concerns remain. In October, a Boeing 737 MAX 8 operated by Indonesian carrier Lion Air crashed into the Java Sea, killing all 189 people on board. Ethiopian Airlines has grounded its 737 MAX 8 jets until further notice. Other airlines and aviation authorities across the region have also taken precautionary measures. China has grounded nearly 100 of the jets operated by local airlines. It says it will only resume operations after confirming the relevant measures to effectively ensure flight safety. At least 29 domestic flights have been cancelled. 250 flights that were supposed to use the 737 MAX 8 jet have switched to different model planes. And Beijing says it will only resume operations after it is fully assured of safety. Well, here in Singapore, Singapore Airlines says it's is monitoring developments, but it says all 737 MAX 8 flights operated by its subsidiary SilkAir are going ahead as scheduled. And over in India, its aviation watchdog is examining the use of this jet by local carriers Jet Airways and SpiceJet. Indonesia has also temporarily suspended all 737 MAX 8 flights. But still, China's move for all local airlines to halt 737 MAX 8 flights has the most impact, as close to 100 of them operate in the country. Our correspondent has more on this matter.
China has ordered its domestic airlines to stop operating their Boeing 737 MAX jets till further notice. In a statement, Chinese aviation authorities said they will notify airlines on when the suspension is lifted after contacting Boeing and U.S. aviation authorities to ensure flight safety. Reports suggest Chinese carriers have 96 of such aircraft in service, including with Air China, China Eastern Airlines and China Southern Airlines. The country's main airlines among the biggest users so far of the new Boeing planes. Now, this is the second incident involving a Boeing 737 MAX jet in months. In October, a Lion Air plane also went down in the Java Sea, killing 189 on board. Investigations for that are still ongoing, but it's been enough to cause China concern. Authorities said given that the two accidents involved newly delivered Boeing planes and happened during the takeoff phase, there is some degree of similarity. This is also in line with their zero-tolerance stand for safety hazards. 8 Chinese nationals were on board the Ethiopian Airlines aircraft. In a statement issued late Sunday night, China's foreign ministry said it had ordered China's embassy in Ethiopia to launch an emergency response. It urged Ethiopia to find out the cause of the air crash as soon as possible and keep China updated on the investigation developments.
Malaysia has agreed to Indonesia's request to drop charges against an Indonesian woman who was accused of killing Kim Jong-nam, the half-brother of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Siti Aisyah was freed earlier today after spending around 2 years in custody. She has safely arrived in Jakarta. No explanation was given as to why the charges were dropped. Ms. Aisyah's lawyer says she's always maintained her innocence and that she and the other woman on trial for Mr. Kim's murder were mere pawns in an assassination orchestrated by North Korean agents. Nearly 70% of malicious URLs created in Southeast Asia last year came from Singapore. Now, that's according to a report released today by global cybersecurity firm Trend Micro. Singapore also topped the region in scams involving business emails. Here's the story.
Singapore is known for innovation,